NTPC, and our team has been managing the coal logistics of NTPC, and I am personally being involved for the last 8 years. So we have a centralized logistics management system in NTPC where especially majority of our operations are through Indian Railways. So we have this centralized logistic team which is based out of Noida and Delhi, and we manage the logistics for the entire country. Now, just to give you a brief introduction about our scale of operations, last year we have consumed around 280 million metric tons of coal, and this year we are expected to consume around 300 million metric tons of coal. We are the largest consumer of coal in the country. We are the largest customer of Indian Railways and also Coal India. Then last year, out of 280 million metric ton, 100 million metric ton is what we have moved through our captive merry-go-round system, what we call, where the assets, we have a captive merry-go-round system in NTPC, where the assets are owned by NTPC. We have a dedicated rail network and dedicated rolling stock and crew, which, with the help of which we take around 100 million metric ton of coal every year. And we are the second largest rail operator in the country after Indian Railways. And last year we have taken around 160 million metric tons of coal through Indian Railways, roughly translating to around 42,000 rakes in a year. That's the scale of our coal operations, coal logistics operations which we have in NTPC. Coming to this topic of decarbonizing coal supply chain, we are proactively working on this. NTPC has been on the forefront of this for the last many years. We have been working on multiple levels, at the linkage rationalization levels, at the transportation rationalization levels. The first and foremost thing is our dependence on road is nearly close to zero. The entire coal which we take in our plants, it's either through our own MGR system, Indian Railways, or through the merry-go-round system, and our dependence on the road is completely zero, except in a few cases where there's a problem with the mainstream logistic sources. Then in those cases, we may depend on road transportation, but that is not more than 2 to 3% of what our total thing is. So that is the major point which I'd like to bring in here. That is a major way in which we are contributing towards cleaner and safer coal transportation. Secondly, we over a period of time, first of all, when we NTPC, as a matter of principle, we try to bring in capacity at the pit heads so that the transportation costs are minimized. There is access of cheaper electricity to the country, and the effect on environment is low. But again, due to the grid requirements and all, there is a requirement that we may need to have some load center stations. And in those stations also, over a period of time, what we have done is that we have rationalized the linkage sources. As you all know, every year or once in 2 years, Coal India Limited brings out a rationalization window in which the power companies can apply to that. So by applying to this, through this window, and even otherwise, we have tried to rationalize our linkages so that by design, around a majority of coal which comes to NTPC is from the nearest source, so that our footprint with respect to the transportation is minimized to a large extent. And in addition to this, there may be seasonal variabilities. We have a system of quarterly matrix with the coal companies where before the start of a quarter, based on the forecast of the quarter, both the demand and supply forecasts, we devise a system in which we can, now that Ministry of Power has given us flexible utilization of coal, so we devise a system in which we have a quarterly matrix in which we source coal from these coal companies, the nearest coal companies. In addition to that, we have the monthly indents which we put to Indian Railways. That also we make it a point that the coal reaches to us in the most cost efficient and environmentally safe way. Coming to our, we also have another business line, the NTPC Mining Limited. We have 9 coal blocks with a PRC of 91 million metric ton of coal. Out of that, 5 coal blocks are currently working, currently operational. And last year, we have produced 42 million metric tons of coal. And this year, we are expecting over 45 million metric tons of coal. So one more major initiative which NTPC has taken is that each of these mines is connected, is having a private siding. NTPC has invested on private siding. We have a system of, we have developed or we are developing FMC with fully electrified siding. With FMC, we have silo with bin loading systems in all our loading points. So that actually contributes to a lot of operational efficiency. Then one more major initiative which we have taken is that we have reduced our import dependence to zero. Why I want to make it, or why I want to stress on this point, is that the emission efficiency of imported coal is very, very high as compared to domestic coal. Say, during the coal scarcity scenario, which was prevalent 3-4 years back, and when compared to that, we have reduced our import dependency to by around 80% in the last financial year, and in the current financial year, we have not imported even a single ton of coal. So what it has done is that even though there is around 5 to 6% increase in our coal consumption, my carbon footprint with respect to transportation has reduced by 20-25% in the last 3 years. This is only because of my curtailing on the imported coal consumption, imported coal procurement, which has helped us a lot in making my supply chain cleaner. Then again, we normally don't do road transportation also unless it's an emergency. So again, not only that, when it comes to the plants, we have a system in which we optimize the operational efficiency also. We have a rake management system, which is an AI-based model. We want to convert it into a full-fledged model in which we can actually, the detentions, the turnaround times and all can be controlled so that the rakes are released faster, and there will be an increase in operational efficiency. Our MGRs also, we are converting, I mean, the newer MGRs which are coming up, especially at Lara, Darlipalli and all, we have made as electrified MGRs. And in case of old MGRs, though they are diesel run, they are still, since the leads are very low, the carbon footprint of them is much lesser as compared to Indian Railways. So we have, again, now as a forward-looking step, we also are in discussion with some service providers for optimizing our core sourcing.
Sorry for interruption, Mr. Gosala. Yes. Will you please restrict your talk to 10 minutes because...
Okay. I'll summarize.
We have 5 speakers, in fact.
I understand, sir. I'll summarize. So what...
Just a minute. Since we have 5 speakers and our time ends at 1:45, but I think we will be extending it a little bit. So I would request all the speakers to restrict their talk within 10 minutes.
All right, sir. I'll summarize in the next 1.5 minutes.
Thank you.
So what we at NTPC feel for the future is that SECL and MCL are going to be the powerhouses of the future. In maybe the next 5 or 7 years, there will be a situation when coal from SECL and MCL will go to every nook and corner of this country. So our logistic system, our for loading, for movement, everything has to be geared up for this. Secondly, we have seen how the captive coal or the commercial coal, the share of that has increased a lot in the last 3-4 years. And this is going to continue. And one of the major issues with this is that the difficulties in evacuation. So our only suggestion is that if dedicated evacuation corridors are constructed or planned at the time of mine allocation only, then there will be the evacuation ease, and also common user facilities can come up in those areas. When these smaller mines can collaborate, they can have an FMC, they can have these common user facilities for coal dispatch. Secondly, with respect to Indian Railways, based on the coal logistics plan which the Ministry of Coal has developed, 34 projects have been identified for easing out coal transportation in the country. Work is already going on and it's being monitored at the highest level. So these things, especially if the faster they come up, it will have a very good effect on the easing out of coal logistic constraints in the country. Last, especially Mr. Ajay is here from DFC. I'd like to compliment DFC for the way it has revolutionized this coal transportation. Especially whatever coal I used to take at Dadri, especially from CCL. Earlier, before DFC has come up, Mughal Sarai, Allahabad were major choke points, and coal used to reach my plant in 5-6 days. Nowadays, it's reaching in 1.5 to 2 days, which is a major game changer in coal transportation. Now that particular problem, logistic constraint has shifted southwards to Jharsuguda, Bilaspur, and Nagpur. I'm aware that Ministry of Railways is taking some steps to clear that off also. So I hope things will be better in future. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Mr. Tushar Chakravarti, Executive Director, Deloitte. I think we will be listening from him the consultant perspective on the subject.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, a very warm good afternoon to all of you. As the time has been restricted to 10 minutes, I'll try to sum up the key pointers more from a point of view of a consultant and somebody who is analyzing this industry. In the morning, you heard our CMD, Coal India, mentioning that there has been a report which has been prepared a couple of years ago related to coal logistics, the evacuation plan of coal. We were fortunate to deliver that for Coal India as well as Ministry, and that's why we do have a perspective around it. But today, the topic which I'm trying to touch upon is slightly different. It's not about the logistics evacuation plan. It's not about how it's going to shape up, but something which is evolving as the very, very important aspect in the mining fraternity, that is adoption of cleaner vehicle for Indian mining industry. And with that aspect, I would like to just take you to some of the very important and pertinent fact which is happening in the industry today and how we are shaping up as a country. So we, as a country, produce around 4.1 gigatons of GHG emissions. Out of that, around 7.8 which is 7.8 of the global number,